the final welcome to the sixth and final episode of my Australian Working Holiday series. Let's get into it right now. Okay, so today we're talking about farm work and possible extensions. Now, this is huge. A lot of it you don't hear beforehand. It's not something you look into a lot before you come because you're focusing on your first year. A lot of you, I bet you, most of you, were planning on doing 1 year in Australia and then leaving, going back home, going somewhere else, traveling anywhere. I would keep that in your back pocket. Chances are when you come to Australia, like so many people, you get sucked into the life and the vibe and the traveling and the freedom of it. And I myself only planned to have 1 year, and that was just instantly it was gone. I ended up, one of my first jobs here was actually farm work. So I said, in case I want to do it, let's do it. And then ended up staying. And just how it works. And a lot of people have the same tendencies. A lot of people end up staying for their second and third and going for permanent residency and citizenship. It's crazy. Anyway, there are ways to extend it past your first year. And the main one is farm work. Now, those of you that don't know, in Australia, when you come to Australia on your first year, you have the opportunity to complete 88 days of farm work in order to gain a second year. So if you complete 88 days, which is about 13 weeks or so like that, of farm work, you can then apply at the end of your first visa for an additional year. What you need to do is keep all your pay slips, all the emailed stuff. All these farms know that, and it's a great way, and it's a great opportunity to get an extra year in Australia. Aside from that, it is one of the single best ways you will make friends in Australia here. I met the closest friends I've ever met traveling. I met during my farm work here in Australia. It's great. Half of them are back in England now, or in Germany, or back home in America, and I still talk to them on a regular basis. Actually, one of my old roommate, actually just here till a couple weeks ago, was one of my buddies that I met. He's from Ireland. I met him during my farm work. It's an unforgettable experience, and the fact that you're going through a shared struggle, because don't get me wrong, farm work sucks. The fact that you're going through a shared struggle makes you grow closer as friends, and you appreciate the time you have together that much more. So when it comes to farm work, generally there's a bunch of different forms you can do. Like there is picking, there's trimming, there's general farm work, cable hand, station hand. You could work in a packing factory, which is very common. You could work out in the fields. What I personally did was lemon tree pruning, which if you do get the chance to, in Queensland, in Bundaberg, go to East Bundy Backpackers. They really take care of you there. It's a great spot. It's a little bit expensive, but they help you with all these finding a job. They set you up well. They only use farms that are certified and have a history of treating people well and going for the 88 days and all that. And the one I worked for was Fuller Pruning, which is lemon tree pruning, as I said. You can make a bunch of money if you're willing to work hard. It is debatably, at the hostel, everyone kind of considered it the hardest job there because you don't have to work hard to get it completed. You can make your $600, $800 a week, roughly, without working hard. If you want to work hard, you can make upwards of 12, 13, which we were making. It is excellent. Other than that, a lot of farm works pay very little money. So when you do your farm work, you have to accept the fact that you may not come out of it with a bunch of money. Of course, try to find a position where you are still saving something, but the reality is a lot of farm work, especially in like WA here to the south, you don't make much money. You end up getting living and a little bit of savings, which really sucks, but it gets you your days, and it's worth it if you do the quick bit for the extra year. Now, another thing I will point in is if you can, try to stay away from picking. In the West here, wine picking specifically is very tough. So it's not hard work, but you just don't make a lot of money. I'm talking like you work 5 days a week, you're only working 6 hours, and you're making whatever, 60, 70, $80. It's really not nice. Sometimes $100 if you're lucky, but you're making like $500 or $600 a week, which is quite low, and especially because it's a little bit more expensive on this side. I wouldn't recommend it. Try to find something a little bit. If you can work in a packing shed, it sucks. It's all hard on your body, but if you're willing to do it for the extra year, that is an option. when it comes to farm work, what else can I tell you? I recommend doing it. I think everyone, when you come to Australia, you should do it. And I recommend doing it at the beginning because it does take 3 months, sometimes 4, because you have to switch jobs, do this, do that. The season ends, one job ends, the farmer just stops doing his stuff because the season's over, you have to switch. So you have to give yourself some time. Please don't be on your 9th month here in Australia and be like, oh, I'm going to get my farm work in. Chances are you're not going to get it. Right? It's possible, but chances are you're not going to be able to get that, and that's the cheapest and the freest way, though you get to earn money while you are working for your stay. Every other option, you pretty much have to pay a load of money for in order to gain more time here in Australia. So I did mine. I got here in February. I ended up doing my farm work starting at the end of March, right? So I had 2 months of travel, and then I went to do farm work, and I'm so happy I did. And like I said, if you're in Queensland, Bundaberg is the key spot for it. Huge there, lots of hostels, great people. It's, in terms of a farm town, it's pretty good spot. They still have bars and clubs and restaurants you can go to. They have lots of car rental places so you can explore on the weekends. There's a lot of other people I know who do the farm work. They do it in the middle of nowhere, and that's rough because it kind of ruins 3 months. It kind of limits you for 3 months or 4 months of your time here in Australia without having any travel. So if you can have a little bit of experiences, go out at night, go to bars and clubs, that is nice, which is why Bundaberg, I think, is a pretty decent spot. After farm work, there is another option. So if you've done your first year, now you're on your second year, you can do farm work again to gain a third year. The only problem is this time, you got to do 6 months. You have to do 6 months of it, which personally I didn't seem worthy, and if it hadn't been Corona, I would have left Australia at the end of my second year. I've actually just started it. I'm on a student visa now, which is another option we'll get to in a sec. But you can do another 6 months in your second year to get a third year, and then that's the end of it. Once you get that, once you're done your third year, you have to find another option. Okay, the next probably most common option that people strive for, that is like the better option, is sponsorship. Now, what this is a company can sponsor you to work for them. The problem with this is geared towards people that want to get years in Australia and want to have either get a permanent residency or citizenship or something like that eventually down the line, or want a couple years at least in Australia. The problem is you got to commit to one spot. You have to commit to one place. So say the bar you're working at, they can sponsor you as, you have to be a manager position. So it has to be a manager. They will not sponsor you as a runner or a bartender or anything like that. You need to be sponsored to a manager position, which a lot of time they'll move you up to. It does cost a lot. It takes a long process. You need to have 3 years of relevant experience in that area of that job. So 3 years as a manager in that job. The business needs to prove that you are better than the other applicants, Australian applicants they are getting, right? And they need to prove a desired need to you. The problem with a lot of places don't do this is because it costs them quite a bit of money. So it's going to cost you about $7,000 for the application and get through, and you'll get 2 years, and then after that you get the chance to apply for residency and all that. But it's going to cost about $7,000 for you and about $7,000 for the venue, if not $10,000 upwards. This is all rough based on what I've been told when I was looking into that myself. That is an option, but you have to stay with the venue for a while, and you need to really make sure that that's what you're looking for, and that kind of takes away the travel part of it if you want to settle more in Australia. Now, the other option is what I'm on, the student visa. Now, this could be a great option if you just want a temporary thing, or if you want to actually study, you may as well do it in Australia. It's a bit more expensive than in most countries because you're a foreigner, but also the only problem with student visa is that it limits your working rights. So when you're on a student visa, you can only work 20 hours per week from the start of your course till about a month after your course. So you can't work till your course starts, and then you can only work 20 hours. Of course, there's lots of options for cash jobs and freelance work and stuff like that, but that is so you can't go and work a full-time job in a bar or in a construction company and be on a student visa. So before you commit to a student visa, make sure you look at that. I know a lot of people who have done student visas rather than do their farm work. So they've done a 2-year course or a 1-year course and get 3 years in Australia. Of course, they cannot work long, but the good thing is when you are off school, so you only have 8 months of school, so during the summer period, you are able to work full time, which is really nice. So if you're on a longer one, it is beneficial, but you just need to look at all that. So you need to go to the government website, and they will explain all that for you. The student visa I am currently on a 8-month visa, right? I'm good now till October, right? And I'm going to be doing a 6-month course, right? That was very important to me. I wanted to explore because I'm doing these photography and videography, and I'm doing a business course. I really want to develop myself in business, and that gives me a great opportunity to learn, and it also gives the opportunity to stay in Australia for a little while longer, which is really helpful. Other than that, that is pretty much the main ways in order for you to do extensions. Other than that, if you want to stay in Australia and you don't need to work, there are several visitor and tourist visas you can hop on. You can even hop on visitor visas for a year, as long as you declare you don't want to study or work or anything like that, which is really helpful if you have some savings or you work remotely and you work yourself. That is great, and that's an option as well. But that's pretty much the only ways to extend it. And like I said, be prepared. I'm not saying you have to do it or you're gonna, but be prepared to stay an extra year, right? So if you want to do your farm work, I recommend doing it even if you are only staying a year, because the great thing about farm work is you can do your first year, do your farm work completed, and then travel for a couple months and then leave, and you have that in your pocket. You can come back and do another year whenever you want. So you can use that second year that you earned in your first and come back in 6 years' time and spend another year in Australia and then pursue either a career or anything you want, right? That's really important. So I do think it's worth it just to have that in your back pocket, and the fact that almost all people, they meet great friends, have such a great time and are doing so much amazing things that they want to stay. So if you are even remotely considering it, spend 2 months traveling and meeting people, having friends, maybe 3 or 4 months, and then start looking maybe at your farm work. I really recommend it because it gives you the option rather than not having the option at the end. Okay, and that is it for me, guys. That's it. We killed 7 videos here, guys. 6 episodes in the intro. We did really well. I really enjoyed making these videos, guys, and I hope they helped you. If you have any other questions or want to know more about anything in Australia or traveling or anything about me or what I'm doing, please feel free to comment on these videos. You feel free to message me on my Instagram. My email is available through my YouTube as well if you have any business inquiries or anything like that. I hope you learned from this, guys, and I look forward to doing more of this with you. If you have any ideas of stuff you'd want to see or the type of videos you like, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get working with them. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Until next time, take care.